You're listening to I Love It When, and I'm your host, Mo. I'm a speaker, coach, and connector. You're in the right place if you're looking for some inspiration and you're ready to truly embrace who you are. My intention with this podcast is to help you see that you are so much more powerful than you realize. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of I Love It When. I am your host, Mo, and today I'm super excited to have three amazing healers on this podcast to talk about the upcoming retreat that we're collaborating on at the end of September 2025. So I am technically on a podcast break for the month of July and August. However, I wanted to bring these three healers on because I really want everyone to get a chance to feel like what it will be like to be in the energy of this retreat. Oftentimes it's hard if you've never been on retreat before, or perhaps it's been a while, or if you don't know the facilitator, me, or if you don't know the three other speakers that I've invited into this retreat with me, it can be hard to get an idea of what it's like to be there. So today I have the most delicious appetizer for you that you could imagine. I just actually finished recording with them, and so I'm hopping on here to give you a bit of an introduction. So the retreat's happening September 26th through the 28th in downtown Everett, Washington, at a place called Kindred Healing Space. It's a beautiful yoga studio, but it's also a place where Donna, actually, who I've had on the podcast, she has a number of different types of opportunities at the studio. You can get Reiki there, all sorts of different things, sound healing. And so I love the location of this retreat. And today I want to start off actually by going through a bit of the agenda with you, which everybody's always intrigued by. And what I'll tell you is that I'm going to go over this agenda with you, but just know that as we get closer to the retreat, as people are signing up, oftentimes the last few details of the experience are not cemented until right before. And that's just how it goes, because the attendees are a huge part of the experience. Yes, us as the facilitators, we're bringing a learning experience to you, but it is because of the people who attend that the magic is created. We're co-creating with you, really. So just know that. I'm going to give you as much detail as I can today, but there will be more to come. So we're going to have 3 full days together. And before the retreat even happens, I always like to have a pre-retreat meeting, usually about a week before the weekend that we'll be connecting. So, and I'll get us all together on Zoom. And the intention behind that is for all of us to get to know each other a little bit and actually to set intentions for the retreat. Something that I've found to be very powerful in retreats that I've done in the past is that I usually will write a letter or a note of some sort to each of the attendees, and I just let it flow out of me, and I set an intention for myself, and I also set an intention for the attendee. And what I have found is that they oftentimes come true. That's how powerful our intentions are. And so I like to take a moment to do that because honestly, the experience for the retreat happens and begins as soon as you say yes. So we'll start off with that pre-retreat meeting over Zoom, where hopefully you'll also get a chance to meet each of our facilitators. I'll invite them to that experience too. And then we start on Friday, September 26th, and we'll open at around 9 o'clock in the morning. And this first hour and a half, I'm going to reserve as an opening ceremony. So we'll be doing a couple different activities, one of which will be Kai. Kai has actually offered, and she shared this during the podcast today, to do a group cleansing for us. So one of the first things we'll do when we all gather together in that space is she will bring us all together and she will cleanse our auras, cut any cords that we have. And this is so that we can just truly be in our own energy for the weekend so that you're not bombarded by other people's energies or anything else that could confuse you from connecting with your soul, truly. And so we'll share our intentions again after Kai has done that group cleansing. And then my goal is to have us start off with Enmei and have her talk about the difference between intuition versus fear. And this is going to be setting the stage for what we're talking about this weekend, which is reflected in the title now, called Unplug From Fear. Our goal is really to help you get clear on where you may be responding or acting from a place of fear in your life. So Enmei will speak, and when Enmei speaks, it's often very engaging and very much a back and forth conversation. So you all will probably have time to ask her questions. And then we'll break for lunch. And lunch, I'm envisioning right now, will probably be on your own, so that if there are some people who want to spend that time by themselves integrating or taking some time to process and journal, that could be a time for that as well. But if you want to have lunch together, there will always be a group of us who will go somewhere together to eat. And then from about 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock that day, I want to do a panel with Enmei, Crystal, and Kai. And this will be an opportunity for everybody to ask questions. I'm going to have a few questions just to get us started and rolling. But I want this to be an opportunity for everybody to ask whatever it is that's top of mind for them. And so it's an awesome way to get to know these different facilitators and to see them actually how they answer different questions differently and the same. It's really fun to see the patterns that show up. And then we'll close the day with a ceremony and some integration time with me. And then we'll have dinner together somewhere. So you are welcome to bring your own food if you want to for lunch. Dinner, though, we'll probably always spend out somewhere together. And so again, that location and the place will depend on, as we get closer, I'll figure those details out and get them out to you. The second day, Saturday, September 27th, we're going to start off in the morning with a workshop with Crystal Novak, where I believe, and again, I have not talked about these details with her, but it's probably going to be around energetic hygiene, grounding, connecting with your soul, tuning in. Then we'll go off to lunch. And then in the afternoon, it'll either be a workshop with me or it'll be an experience of some kind, which again will be solidified the closer we get to the event. My intention right now is to bring in a breathwork facilitator and definitely feel called to do that, and possibly a sound healing experience. We'll see though. Then after that, we'll have dinner together. And then I want to bring us back to the studio that Saturday evening for an experience in the space after dinner as well. And then the third day, the final day on Sunday, September 28th, we'll start off the morning with a workshop with Kai. And she really wants to play with energy with all of you, which I love. And she talks about that a little bit in the podcast today. She wants to help you get really comfortable with playing with energy and seeing what you can do, because oftentimes it can be so serious when really there are so many fun things you can do with energy. So she's got some great activities that we'll be doing where you can you'll get up out of your chair, walk around, you'll be doing things, you'll be feeling into energy and learning a lot. So I'm really excited for that part of this too. Then we'll have lunch again, and then there'll be an afternoon experience, and the closing ceremony will be probably around 4 or 5 p.m. that day. I'm going to leave that a little bit open. Just know that I'll have you, we'll be done by the time dinner comes around so that we can either get dinner again together if people want to, or if you need to disperse and go off on your way, you're welcome to as well. And then usually after retreat, I will check in with people a couple weeks afterwards, and I'll offer a post-retreat follow-up session. And I'm a big believer in offering opportunities where the learning expands beyond the actual event, because so much happens before a retreat and after a retreat. Oftentimes you're processing things, more will come up for you. You've just spent 3 days in a really high frequency with some really amazing people, and it can bring all sorts of things up. And so I want to have you get the opportunity to kind of integrate back into your life a bit and then check back in with you and see how you're doing. So that's what you can plan for in this experience. And just know that whenever I plan a retreat, I'm extremely intentional. And so I usually start off by thinking about what are the other energies that I want to involve in this experience. And when I first thought about this retreat, it was Enmei, Crystal, and Kai who came to mind. And I believe it's because all three of these people have such a great balance between their spiritual insight and information and their human experience. And that's really important to me because, like Kai brings up in this episode, I want you to walk away with real tactical tools. I want you to feel like you can own your power and really step into it, which is why I had that title for the retreat in the first place. I really want you to feel like you can step into your power, own it, and that you are confident in it. And so each of these three people bring that aspect to this energy, and that brings me such confidence and such joy and so much excitement for this. Because in my spiritual journey, I've really had to use a lot of discernment when it comes to who I'm going to learn from, because I know that whoever I'm learning from, it's going to impact my clients. And I really, really look for teachers who have a balance and have really good discernment. And I trust each of these women just explicitly. So I'm really excited to have the opportunity to do this collaboration with them. So during this episode, what you're going to hear now is why we changed the name of the retreat from Step Into Your Power into Unplug From Fear. You're going to get a sense of what the energy of the retreat feels like and why we're so excited. Then you're going to hear a little bit about what each facilitator will be bringing that is unique to this experience. And if you're stuck in a place of survival right now and a place of fear and you're worried about expenses, but you feel called to this experience, I really want you to tune in, open your mind, and listen. This is exactly why we're collaborating on this retreat. This retreat is for you, right? And if any other questions come up, if you want to talk to me further, like I mentioned in the retreat, I oftentimes will meet with people to help them brainstorm on how to get to the retreat financially. If that's an issue for you, please reach out to me. And if there's any other questions we can answer, we absolutely will. We totally will. We're really, really excited for this. And so thank you so much for tuning in. I can't wait for you to see all four of us together on this Zoom. The energy is palpable. So here we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of I Love It When. This is a super special podcast episode because technically I'm on a break. But, when an opportunity arises like this to get these three wonderful people together to talk more about this upcoming retreat, I had to take it. And so I'm really excited for you all to be here and to get to know these three lovely souls a bit more today and just to get into the energy of what we're feeling for this retreat. So thank all of you for being here. And I'm really excited to get into this. And so I just want to have us start off by going around and giving introductions just for anybody who's listening who hasn't met you before or hasn't listened to your podcast episode, because all three of these ladies have been on my podcast before as well. So Crystal, would you want to get started first?
Sure.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Crystal Novak. I am a psychic reader. I also am a conscious channel, and I also do energy work. I work from a place of knowingness, which essentially is I know stuff, and that happens to now be the name of my website, I know stuff.me. I've been doing this work for over 40 years. And a good portion of the knowledge that I have came from being part of a channeled meditation study group that was taught by an ascended master named Katumi. And we met once a week for 35 years and talked a lot and learned about a lot of different things. So that's some of the information and energy I'll be bringing to this retreat, which I think is a nice component. And it'll help people have a different experience and then be able to understand how things work more about energy. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, who wants to go next?
Okay. Okay. I am Kai Bertrand. I am a Hawaiian kahuna, which is the Hawaiian version of a shaman. I am an energy healer. I am an author, mentor, speaker. I've been involved in the paranormal since I was an infant, according to my mother. And so this sort of weird woo stuff has been an everyday thing for me. And what I'm looking forward to with this retreat is just having some fun with it, honestly. Because a lot of times when we get into some of these concepts, we get very serious about it. And honestly, energy can be fun. It can be a lot of fun, and you can do many things with it as long as you are willing to be a little creative, because energy works, or it is driven by the intentions of the user. So if you intend to have fun with it, it can be so much fun. And I think that that's something that's missing in a lot of like esoteric kind of sessions, is that people don't realize that it's fun and you can do lots of different things. And so it doesn't have to be like this serious, boring thing. I mean, knowledge is important and we should have all that stuff, but at the same time, it's like we get to experiment, we get to choose different things, and we get to just see what can happen. What if we do this? And do so in a safe manner. And that's kind of what I want to do with this, with the retreat, is like just let people experience and have fun and just really delve into their own abilities and think about possibilities.
I love that. And May.
Oh my goodness. Well, I better tell you how I know Margaret first. Mo and I were introduced to each other through another realtor professional who
Mhm.
said she's the real deal. And that's what I do every day. Is this the ability to talk to dead people, live people, and the ones yet to come. But in that communication, I am actually a professional business strategic advisor. And who would think to talk to an intuitive for such a program? But really, the formula of success is do what you love and love what you
Mhm.
do. And if you're not, then don't do that anymore. So I love to tell people that there's a lovely place for everyone. And by tuning into their own intuitive gifts, which are pre-fixed inside you, I mean, they were manufactured in you already. I'll show you how to reach them. I'll show you how to talk to them yourself so you can talk to your own dead people. Anyways, we're going to have a super fun time at Unplug. So here we go.
Yes. And that takes me right into my first question that I wanted to talk about with the three of you. Is we actually met just a couple of days ago to look at the messaging behind the retreat and the energy of it. And it feels really good because I think what we're speaking to now is a place where a lot of people can relate. And so we've changed the title from Step into Your Power, which is still a part of the energy of the retreat, but we're changing it to Unplug from Fear, because that's where something I think that all four of us have really seen is happening right now all around us, that people are operating and making decisions from this place of fear rather than a place of love or joy or excitement. And so I was wondering if we could just share a little bit about that and why we decided to shift the title, and what kind of came to us as we were having this conversation on Monday. Because I know one of the things that really, I think, struck me was speaking to where people are at, versus for me, when I came up with that original image and the title and everything, I was like, here's where I want us all to be, stepping into our power, feeling free, feeling light, feeling giddy, which is a lot of something that I talk about with all three of you. Is I love, like you said, Kai, having fun with it and bringing joy to it. Uh, but what we're noticing is that right now people are not quite in that joy place. And so we want to help you come into this experience and really unplug from that fear programming for a minute and check in and find yourself again.
Joy is a choice.
Mhm.
And sometimes we get caught up in our own primordial instinctive mind, which is the mind that says survive. And
Mhm.
right now we're in survival mode. A lot of people are thinking, is my job secure? Is my family secure? Am I still going to have a paycheck? Am I going
Mhm.
to survive this boyfriend that I have right now? There's a lot going on in the word of survival. And that is part of our instinct, is to survive. But when we have that so loud in our body, mind, and spirit, we cannot hear our own intuitive voice, the voice of our heart, the heart that says, I love it when, which is the reason why most companies called I Love It When.
Mhm.
It's a habit that I've had ever since I was a child, that we look at the I love it when before we go to the I don't want and the yeah buts. Right
Mhm.
now, a lot of people are perplexed by the yeah but and the what ifs. So that's why we came together. This is the time to have this type of retreat, to put some tools together, allow a safe space to talk about what these acts of unkindness are and
Mhm.
how we can conquer that in our own ways.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, when
Yeah,
you are in a place of fear, that limits what you're able to create, because now your mind and the rest of you is stuck, like Enmei just said a moment ago, in survival. My belief is that we're our spirit here having a human experience. We're here to walk the world and know what it's like to be a human. So we're here in this great vehicle. I call it the encounter suit. Um, and one of the things that comes with this encounter suit is it's wired for survival. So we spend a lot more time in our rational mind, but we don't realize that that survival mode is always on. And so we are, in a way, pre-wired to search for danger because that's how we survive.
Mhm.
Um, So in the past, it would be like, okay, let's look for the tiger. But now the tiger doesn't look like that anymore. The tiger looks like, what if a tree falls on my house? That kind of
Mhm.
thing. And given the tone of what's happening right now, that tends to put people into survival mode. When we go into survival mode, we disconnect from our spiritual side. Um,
Oof,
and we forget that we have power. We have power to create beyond what our survival brain is telling us. It's just sounding the alarm, but we get to choose about the alarm. If you're cooking and the smoke detector goes off, you know, oh, the house is not on fire. I just burned something. If you hear it in the middle of the night, you're going to get up and go, okay, is there a fire? So this is where we stop, we step into our present time place and go, okay, inside of me, survival brain is wired and anxious, fighting for survival. It's like, but is it happening now? No, it's not happening now. I don't want to stay in that place because then I'm going to start creating the potential for that to happen. So when we have this retreat, we're going to talk about how do I step out of that and step into a place where I can hear my inner guidance, where I can reconnect to my spiritual self, um, and be able to say, oh, I just burned something. The house is not on fire. It's how to
Mhm.
be present and hear.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I love
I
that.
think the important part of what I would like to do in the retreat is to not only give people tools to kind of get through this sort of thing, but also to like shift the energy. Because I think the
Mhm.
thing that takes us out of survival mode is to remember that it's easier for us if we can focus our energy on someone else in terms of
Mhm.
being of service to someone else,
Mhm.
because that then takes the energy from focusing so much on our things, making us very insular, to recognizing that there are other people who might need us and how we can best be of service to another person, which then automatically gets us out of that survival mode for us, because then we recognize that there's someone else who needs something that we have, or something
Mhm.
we can provide, or something we can do for them. And I think that that is the probably the greatest thing that can help us right now with everything going on, is to remember that there are others who need us.
Mhm.
And that regardless of, even if you don't have a lot of money, if you don't have a lot of time or whatever, that there is something you can do, if not physically, at least energetically, that can be of service to another.
Mhm.
Something I recognized from our conversation the other day was you immediately created energetic safe space.
Mhm.
That's something that energy providers of the bigger huna understand, that when we are in a collective and coming with our own individual issues and conditions and problems, it is such a comfort and a place of compassion to have a space that says, you are safe here. You are not
Mhm.
being judged. You're not criticized. You are not in pain. You are not going to be hurt. You are safe. And Kai, you are an expert in pulling that
Mhm.
kind of energy and understanding it and how to release it and how to keep the good stuff. So I can't wait to see our audience enjoy that tickle from you.
That's a good way to put it, a tickle. Yeah, and that actually, thinking about that was my next question for you guys was, could you share a bit about what you feel the energy is behind or with this retreat? Because when you guys were talking about it on Monday with me, I started getting super excited again of, oh my goodness, I just love being in that place. And I've already had some visuals going through my head of what I see happening. And so I'm wondering if you can share just a little bit about the energy with it or behind it, and maybe why you said yes to participating, because I don't take that for granted either. I asked you all of you, but you all said yes. And you could have said no. So if you want to share a little bit about that, I would love that.
I think what we're going to do is dismantle some limiting beliefs.
Mm.
Mhm.
We may have all grown up with, you have to have a paycheck, you have to have a job, you have to be this, you have to do it this way, and this is the only way.
Mhm.
We got recipes and formulas and information and data and experiences from people that we respect, people that we know, people that we hate, people that we can't stand, people that had the best intentions for us. We're in a different millennium. We are in a different energy field. And sometimes that information becomes obsolete or should be deleted a long time ago or should be upgraded. And that is first giving it permission to dismantle, to say thank you in advance for setting me up for success. Thank you for allowing me to be in this present state, to understand pain and pleasure and excitement and joy and sadness and grief and all of this. But when we are able to give ourselves permission to lean into our heart, it's amazing what we get. The result of the energy that we can exude and receive.
Our perceptions create our reality. So, like, remember, and hopefully this is spoiler alert, remember when you found out that Santa Claus wasn't real?
What?
That's why I said spoiler alert. And all of a sudden, it's like there was a whole shift in what you believed in. It made perhaps start to question, well, what about the Easter Bunny? What about the Tooth Fairy? Hey, what about some other stuff? And you shifted in that moment about what was an actual truth for you or not. So when we explore our truths, like Enme was just talking about, what we think is a truth that people told us are things that are important, maybe they're not. Maybe that truth over there doesn't work for me. It doesn't honor who I am or what I'm able to do. So part of what this retreat's going to be is a chance to look at what you believe about safety and about security and stuff like that. And where did that information come from? Is it really in alignment now with who you are? Is it happening now? So again, when you shift your perceptions or you look at your beliefs, then your whole reality can shift. So if you're in a place of fear, then that's where your perceptions are. You're just gonna be looking for fear stuff. If you're in a place where you step back, like again, the smoke detector thing, and you're like, okay, nothing's on fire. So what is actually going on right now? What's happening beyond the fear? What do I want? Where do I want to be? And the fear is actually not true. It's not true. You're not in survival mode. You're not worrying about something that's going to tear you apart. We're living in artificial constructs that teach us to be afraid. And then it stops us from looking inside and checking out and seeing like, well, wait a second, is that really true? And when we get to that place, then the universe is able to work with us in a more open way, because when we get into fear, we create limits and we only can see like this far ahead of us. When the universe steps in and is co-creating with us, then the universe can come up with stuff that, at least for me, I never would have thought of, because um, some people might agree with this. I'm limited in what my mental ability is able to do, because the human mind can't perceive all the stuff that the universe can. So when I surrender to, okay, I don't know what's happening next. I'm just going to let it be what it is right now, let it have its process, and the next step will show up for me. And then I will take my next step. That's the hard place to be, is when you're that in between place, right? You're not the caterpillar, you're not the butterfly, you're in the soup phase. And it's trusting that, like the caterpillar, it has the programming to become the butterfly. We have the programming to become more. So it's allowing ourselves to breathe and continue to keep moving forward, even though we might not be sure what's happening next. We just have to stay in our faith and be able to recognize that the only thing we have control over is our reactions to things. So when I react from a place of fear, that disrupts the harmony that I can be experiencing. If I can give myself a little bubble of space and go, okay, wait a second, breathe, okay, then I come to a much more present time space, a much more grounded space, and that reopens the possibilities of what can become manifest in regards to this situation. And that's the kind of stuff that we want to play with and explore in this retreat, so that when you walk away from this retreat, you're like, hey, I got the decoder ring right now. I know that what's happening, I can have a choice in it. I don't have to react to it. I can actually step back, breathe, and look at this from a different perspective.
I love that. You made me think about something actually that I've been kind of unraveling for the last couple of years with my business, but then it came up recently again in this last week, which is the idea of what is a good girl. So when you're talking about limiting beliefs, something that I've really had to look at is I was told all the time growing up that I'm such a good girl. And I found a letter from one of my aunts actually saying exactly that when I was getting confirmed in the Catholic faith. And I read it and I was like, oh, wow. Because I've had to do so many things in the last 5 years, especially that a good girl doesn't do. Like a good girl doesn't necessarily push back or speak up or say what she thinks is right or pushes back against someone who's done something wrong. Or a good girl pays all of her bills on time and early. A good girl has this much in savings. So all of these kinds of beliefs I've had to confront, yeah, and really redefine for myself what the heck is a good girl anyways, actually, because that definition no longer works for me. I'm definitely not a good girl in that way anymore. And so that's one of the things that was coming up for me. If you're listening to this podcast, those are the kind of things we can confront, because that definition of what a good girl was used to influence my decision making all of the time. And that good girl wouldn't have this business if I were still making decisions from that place. So,
yeah. And it's also about being nice too. You know, that's another thing. It's just like, oh, nice girls don't do that. And I'm just like, well, then I guess I'm never going to be nice. Honestly, like that is some BS.
Yes, it is.
Oh, I'm not doing it. And so this retreat will give you an opportunity to kind of recognize and acknowledge all these things that are influencing you that you don't even realize is influencing you. Because, right from the crib, we're indoctrinated. I mean, they've done studies around the world where like how an infant is treated is based on the color of the blanket you wrap them in. So from the moment we take our first breath, like the indoctrination starts. And so for us, it's important to understand that those things don't fit us anymore. If we're in this community, those things don't work for us. And so it's a matter of acknowledging them and how do I let go of those things? Because we've had them for so long that we're so used to operating with those things. And so it's like, and sometimes people have the false belief that if I chuck that out, I'll have nothing. It's like, no, what it means is you chuck it out and you replace it with something that works. And that's how you continue. And that's how you go on. That's how you grow. That's how you change. That's how you get what you really want.
Yes.
It starts with you.
Yes.
And so this retreat will give you that safe space so that you can acknowledge those things, like really face those things for the first time and let go of them forever. And we will help you, give you some ideas for what you can replace it with. So that when you leave, you will be a person who feels much more whole or holistic in your belief system and have a much more cohesive cosmology, I guess you could say. Like everything fits better with who you are and who you want to be. And I think that that's important right now because a lot of us feel kind of disjointed because things are not going according to plan. So basically what we're saying is come to the retreat and get a new plan.
It's a growth opportunity.
Yeah.
I had a client sitting here last week who got eliminated from the latest tech trend of departure from his big giant company that had a big giant paycheck. And he was having anxiety and panic attacks and not able to sleep and actually keeps waking up with this giant feeling like a weight on his chest. He'd go shopping and right at Whole Foods, he'd just have an attack in the aisle. So his 6-figure standard operating paycheck was gone. And he was frightened. And I said, can you turn that into maybe 3 individual checks? Like maybe they are from your own work. Your work life has given you 25 years of experience that you can share with 3 different companies and make them all success and make you even a bigger success and maybe even own part of their businesses. And he goes, I never thought of that.
Exactly.
So it was just an idea to give him an opportunity to look at his past experience. And he also referred back to his younger self. He said, no, my dad said you're supposed to work for a company forever. You're only supposed to have this vacation and you have to go here and you can't go anyplace else. Ooh, and I said, yeah, I think you outgrew all those. You really, it's like you don't need that superhero underwear on anymore. It's okay to have your own. He cried and then he started to breathe again and said, why was I so stuck? So this is the kind of retreat where you get to have your stuck stuff come off.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's a really good image. And that one of the questions I was going to ask the 3 of you is if you could give an example of how you work with people. And May, that's like a perfect example of, for people of what you do when they come to a session with you. I'm wondering, Crystal and Kai, if you can share like an example of how you've worked with someone before that shares a little bit about what your gifts are and how you use them.
Go ahead, Kai.
Under the bus I go. Okay. Well, for me, it always depends on the client. And so so for instance, I had a client yesterday and he's kind of like in the same boat as what Enmay's client was talking about, potential loss of job or, did he want to quit now? Do we want to wait? Did he, and I said, for him, I said, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Like you have an opportunity because you're older and you have all this experience, like use that experience in different ways. Like you can do, individual things. Like you have all these different skills. Like you can be a consultant for lots of different companies under different circumstances. You can, you can go and get another job and that's fine. But again, don't put all your eggs in one basket because the way our economy is right now, like you don't know where the cuts are going to be coming. So it's better for you to have multiple, irons in the fire, so to speak. I was like, so take all the skills that you have and teach some classes, do some webinars, do some seminars, do some weekend retreat things if you want to. Make them short, make them poignant, and make them important for people who need what you have right now. Like he's a person who's done a lot of martial arts. I'm just like, a lot of people are not feeling very safe right now. So maybe what you could do is teach some self-defense classes so that people feel a little more physically confident about what's happening. And he's like, that's a great idea. So it's like, for me, what I try to do is like help people to recognize what they already have. Because a lot of times people come from this perspective of lack. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't have anything. I don't know anything. I'm like, that is so not true. Like you have all these gifts. You just need to figure out how to leverage them so that they are relevant for who you want to serve. That's really what it's about. It's like take your skills and figure out how you can utilize them to serve. Because the skills that you have, people need. Because one of the things I talked to the person yesterday, he's like, yeah, he goes, people don't have leadership skills. I'm like, yeah. Like that is one of the things that you could be teaching to a lot of these young executives that come up. Like they have all the, like, how to read business charts and how to read spreadsheets and things like that, but they have no clue about leadership. And that is not something that they can learn from a book. It's something that has to be learned through years of experience. Well, if this happens, then you do this. If this happens, this is how you handle it. That is something that is invaluable that you can provide to another. And he's like, I never thought of that. And so that's what I try to do with people. And I also encourage them to be self-sufficient, because I don't want them to be calling me every 5 minutes
Mhm.
for decisions. Like, I like to have people go, you know what? This is what she told me. This is where I need to focus my attention. And these are the actions that I'm going to take based on what she told me, so that they move forward in their own way. They step into their power, so to speak, which is what we want them to do. And that they realize that once they allow themselves to expand, that their options become more evident.
Mhm.
And also, they're depending on the client, there might be they might be holding beliefs that aren't even theirs.
Mm-hmm.
It could be stuff that's passed down from their family line. And as a shaman, I can go and get those and root those out. I mean, I call them energy anchors. It might also be rooted like in a past life kind of thing. I've gone after those as well. So it just depends upon the person and their issue. It could be an ancestor thing, it could be a past life thing. It could just be energy stuck in their body that they didn't even know was there.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the things that, depending on the situation, I will look for. There might be like a soul contract in the Akashic records that I might need to look at. So there's lots of different options, and each person is different. There's never a blueprint. Like, someone, calls me and I'm like, okay, what's your issue? And then they tell me, and I look at their energy and I like, yeah, that's not your issue. And then I actually tell them what I see, and then we work together to try to figure out, like, okay, how do we want to do this? And a lot of times I'll tell people, okay, well, I can do this for you, but you can also do this. What do you prefer to do? And then I let them decide what either they're going to try to do it themselves, or they want me to assist, or
Mhm.
whatever. It's always a collaborative process, because I never want them to feel like I'm in charge and that they're obeying me. I never want that, because that's not my role.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think that's something that that I really love about the three of you, that we all are kind of in alignment about, which is that we want to empower people to own their energy and make decisions and take the initiative. And so I think that's a necessary thing when it comes to teaching and leading people, is that we don't expect them to. I always tell my coaching clients, I don't expect you to be with me forever. And if you think you're going to be, this is not the right person for you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna echo a fair amount of what Kai just said, because I have the same approach. I literally, on my business card, it says spiritual consultant, because that's what I feel I am. I'm a resource. And I feel that, same as what's been expressed, my job is to work myself out of a job. I don't want people calling me 24/7, telling them what to do. My job is not to tell people what to do. My job is to uh, bring up anything I see that's blocking them from whatever it is they're trying to achieve at this time. And that could be a lot of, like what Kai said, it could be old legacy burden patterns, past life stuff, soul contract stuff, present time programming that we got here that we're still trying to function off of. And to show them that they actually have more resources that they're giving themselves credit for. Several years ago, I spoke to, this is a long time ago, a group of women that were interested in getting into the trades. And they felt like they didn't know anything and they wouldn't be able to do it. So I said, okay, how many of you know how to cook? All the hands went up. Okay. So if you know how to cook and you're a successful cook, then you've used tools. You've used knives, you've used fire, you've used different machinery and stuff to create with. You followed a recipe. That means you looked at something and you knew, okay, these are the materials I need to complete this task. You know what proper pans to go get to create this task. You have transferable skills. You just have to look at the fact that you're going to do it in a different environment, but you have skills that you're bringing with you that you can do this. And it was really interesting to watch everybody go, hey, I never thought of myself like that before. I never thought I could do that kind of stuff. They were just intimidated by how noisy that process can be. And the biggest thing I run into is people are afraid they're going to make a mistake. Well, that's what we're here for. We're here to gain experience. You can't be here and not make mistakes. It's the nature of being here. And from every mistake, we learn something, one would hope. Hopefully, I don't have to do a whole bunch of mistakes in a row to figure out what it was I was supposed to learn, but we gain from our experience. And we have to step away from judging ourselves in those experiences. We just have to like shut off that inner critic and allow ourselves to go forward and have the experience without expectation, to just let it unfold and be what it is. And that's not a very comfortable place to be in all the time. So when I'm working with a client, it's walking them through that process and getting them to realize they've had other experiences where they might have fumbled a bit, but then they found their way and then they got into it and then they started going. And it's giving ourselves permission to let a bigger something of us come into play in this moment when we're tackling these things. And sometimes the anxiety and the fear about making mistakes is that's what we're looking at. Okay, so who told you that you couldn't do this? Or who shamed you when you tried to do this? Who told you that whatever and made fun of you? So it's to look at where that past trauma distortion energy entered into that person's consciousness, and it's still interfering with how they're perceiving themselves and what they're allowing themselves to be able to do. If you watch kids, you give them an easel and a paintbrush and paint, they're going to do all kinds of different stuff on there. And we might even know what the heck we're looking at, but they're like really into it and they're making something and it's creativity and they're flowing with it and they don't care. And when they get done, it's like, I might even know what I'm looking at, but I would say, well, tell me about your picture. What does this mean to you? Tell me about what you're doing, instead of trying to put it in a box and have it make sense to me from my point of view. It's allowing that creative process. And that's part of what this retreat is about, is to give ourselves permission for process. And process is scary because it has its own timeline. We know Christmas is coming. It comes on December 25th. It might drive us crazy to wait for it, but we know it's coming. Process has its own timeline and we get impatient. We get nervous. We get anxious. Am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? Is this going to be okay? Is this going to turn out the way? And that's where you just have to like, okay, whoa, hold on, and give yourself space for grace and just allow it to unfold. Way easier said than done. I'm not saying it's a cakewalk, but Mo, you're a perfect example of this. How you started your business and how you did it one step at a time and how you let it lead you to the next step and to the next step and to the next step. And it took you on a journey you had no idea you were going to go on. It's challenged you in ways you had no idea in how you were going to be challenged, just like you said about being a good girl. And that's what this whole thing is. It's not a one and done. We're actually talking about how we live our lives and how we can gain tools and allow ourselves to have that depth of experience. It brings so much to who we are. And yeah, it can be terrifying, but at the same time, it can be incredibly exciting and fun. A lot of fun. Yeah.
That takes me back to what May said in the beginning about you have the choice to choose joy. And I've thought about that a lot in my journey and that's something that you just said, Crystal, about that I wanted to incorporate into this retreat was for us to choose a different experience with the unknown, to choose a different experience with not knowing what's going to happen, rather than freaking out or having anxiety and just worrying about the what ifs and the what ifs and the what ifs. What if we chose to respond differently to that, which I think is what a lot of people are facing right now, is the unknown all of a sudden is right up in our faces, which my partner Tom always reminds me in such a great way. I hadn't thought about it like this before. He was like, even when you had a job, you were still facing the unknown. You just thought you weren't. And I was like, oh my God, you're so right. Because the person who owned the company that I worked for was facing the same unknown. I thought I would get a paycheck forever, but that's definitely not guaranteed. And so once you realize you already are facing it, you're like, well, I might as well do it with more joy. Like, why not enjoy the ride a little bit more rather than freaking out the whole way?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Which totally takes me to my next question, which is for the person who is listening and who has been watching and thinking about this retreat, but they're stuck in survival mode and still really afraid of the unknown and worried about expenses and worried about, well, what if I get a hole in my roof? What would you say to them about the retreat if they were thinking like, well, I really want to go, but what could we say to help them make that choice?
Life is going to show up anyways. There are no guarantees.
Mm-hmm.
Life happens, life unfolds. We have rough patches, we have extremely amazing things happen, we have the everyday mundane stuff that happens. Life happens. The only thing we can have control of that is how we meet those experiences when they happen. And like I was saying earlier, we have way more in us than we give ourselves credit for. And instead of saying like, well, what if a bad thing is going to happen? What if a good thing's going to happen? What if you believe that the universe is conspiring to bring me nothing but good stuff? It's all in your mindset. So to those who are listening, if this feels like it's calling you and if this is resonating with you just the least little bit, that's a confirmation that this is a choice for you, that you're investing in yourself and it's going to serve you as you continue to move forward in your life, because you are going to be able to say, I know how I went to this retreat and I learned about stuff, and I learned about that I have control only over what I do. And then I got these tools about how to work with that, how to understand that. And yeah, it's still a little unnerving, but you still keep going. And you can have access to 4 really amazing people who have lived their lives around the very stuff that we're talking about. You can't take someone where you haven't been. We've all been there. We all continue to be there. When you show up, then you're going to join that and you're going to say, I've been there. I can do that. I've been there. I have these things now. And maybe it'll be the first step towards a dream that you've always had, and you never allowed yourself to have it because the time just wasn't right. Well, when is the time going to be right? Stop ourselves all the time from being able to really step in and own our lives and have a more enriched and enhanced life experience. So that's another reason why I would encourage anybody that, like I said, is listening to us and it's getting you thinking about stuff. Yeah, it's for you. Hello. Yeah.
I want to share that all my life, at least since I was 3 years old, I had 6 shamans, an attorney, and a naturopath on speed dial. And right now, this 3, they are on my collective of healers and energy workers that inspire me, allow me to continue to do my work that I've been doing over the 40 years. And I want to introduce everybody to Bitchy Kitty and Zen Dog. Okay, so I have a bitchy kitty inside of me that sometimes needs to get crated up. She just goes, you can't do that. Are you thinking you're smarter, stronger, faster? and bitchy kitty can make really effed up decisions. She is my instinct, the one who's worried, the one who is concerned, the one who goes, yeah, but. And then there's Zen Dog. So Zen Dog is where I like to hang out. And that's when I turn off Bitchy Kitty or throw her in the crate with a little bit of pistachio gelato. She's really good. But by going to my Zen Dog, that Zen Dog says, all is already being manifested just the way it's supposed to. Take a nap, relax. It's coming. It's on its way. You're doing the work. Sometimes I need a little pet and a scratch behind the ears that says, reminder, you got Zen Dog with you. And I think that's what we're going to provide. listen, everybody, this is a room full of seekers and energy providers. We are going to help you get that tuned up inside. You actually already have it. Everybody has it. We just got muck in the way. So we're going to help you get the muck out. Remind yourself of your own beauty and joy and grace within, and send you off with those tools. You'll be back for more, but you know, I love that. And
A little starter kit.
yes, yes. I hope that that's what will bring. Mo, I know that you are now studied in emotion code, and this is a magnificent tool that people should be more aware of. And I hope that we get to play a little bit in that too.
Oh, yes, I think we will for sure. You also just reminded me as you were saying, talking about that, Emma, that I've done for people who are listening. I actually really love talking to folks who want to come to an experience, but they find money to be a huge barrier. And so if you're listening, you can go to my YouTube channel, I Love It When LLC, and there's a couple videos in there. One of them is called the Unscripted Retreat. And it's from a couple of the people who came, and they're talking about how they got there financially. So I've had a couple different examples of retreats since I've been doing them since 2017 now, where people have been like, well, how do I raise this money? I actually don't have I don't have $2,000 to come to this. And I've offered to meet with people before, and I help you brainstorm ideas, because when you say yes to an experience, even if you don't know how it's going to happen, it starts to unfurl. And so I just want to give you that nudge to go check out those videos, and you'll listen to people like Melissa Weidling, who's a friend of mine who came to one of my retreats, and another girl named Haley Anderson, where the money came almost as if out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And so when you start to think differently, like we've been talking about in this episode about how something could come to you, you'll be amazed at how many people in your life might actually want to contribute or sponsor part of your ticket to go to an event like this. So for people who are listening, if you're like, well, I just don't know how, reach out to me. I'd be happy to meet with you for like a half an hour and discuss options on how to think differently about the money piece. So I just want to put that out there, because that's always been something that comes up for people.
Yeah, and I think it's important for people to understand that what will bring you a lot of those things is your intention to do so. You know, because like if you want to go, like if there's like, I want to go, like you put it out to the universe and say, I want to go, and allow the universe to bring that to you in however that happens. Because that's another thing that we tend to do, is like we assume it's going to come in one way or one direction, when in truth the universe has thousands of ways to bring things to us. We just need to allow that. So once you put it out there, you let go of it and let the universe go, okay, I've got your order. Let me go figure out how to get it to you. And it'll happen. So worrying about it actually contradicts it. That doesn't mean to say you take no action. It means you take relevant action towards something. And that's what will make it happen. And the whole thing about this, the retreat and everything, is that, you know, people who are afraid of making mistakes, like Crystal talked about, it's like when you work on yourself and you do the work, whatever that happens to look like, you can't get it wrong. It's not a mistake. Even if you struggle with something, it's not wrong. It's what you needed to do at the time, and things will get easier as time goes on. But it's not a mistake. You can't get it wrong. You're not, you know, no one's judging you going, you messed that up. There's none of that. This is just you doing what you need to do for yourself, which will ultimately reflect on your family, on your job, on your community, on the world. Because we are connected on all those levels to everything. Like that whole 6 degrees of separation, that's what we have. So the work that you do on yourself changes the world as well. So that's something to think about. If that's something that's important to you, and think, well, you know, this is just me focusing on myself. It's like, it is, but ultimately it's not.
Hi, have you noticed that everybody seems to be in the yellow light? You know, like, should I go? Should I go? Should I stop? Should I put the brakes on? It's that cautionary, yeah, but place. So for those who do not understand energy healing, Kai is the real deal. She will repair those doubts and flames that are playing sometimes in the background, or maybe that you stepped in and you didn't know that you stepped in it. Sometimes we can pick it up right just going to the market, or it's in the parking lot, or at work, wherever we picked it up. But it's time to shake that off. So those of you who are in the yellow zone, I want to see you in those seats.
Yeah,
Yes.
because the first thing we're going to do is, when we talked about it last time, is like right from the get-go, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to do an aura cleansing right from the beginning for the entire group. So that in itself will like start you from a clean slate to start with. And then from there, the rest of the weekend, we'll just be running.
Yum.
Yeah. And if part of this hesitation is you like think you're not worth it, like, look at this money I'm going to spend for me to go to a retreat. How do I justify that? It's like, are you not worthy? Do you not deserve to be supported in your journey? Do you not deserve to have people around you who will witness you and see you who you are and support that and give you support and tools and guidance to help you become even more of who you are? Yeah, you're worth
It's like,
that.
does your family deserve that?
Yeah,
Like, do your friends deserve that? I mean, like, you change, they change too. So it's like, yeah, you made an investment for yourself, but it affects everyone around you. Are they the people that you love, are they not worth it? I think they are.
This
Yeah.
is a rare moment that we're all together physically in one place, by the way. I'm usually traveling all over the place. And so to be with all of these wonderful energy healers is pretty magnificent. I would like to recommend that my clients, your clients, everyone, please come. I think your boss should come. You know that?
Yes.
We have a different retreat for them, but
Well, and the other thing too that I want to mention is it's not necessarily a retreat for women, because a lot of time people think, oh, this is a women's thing. It's like, no, it's for everyone. It's like, if you feel like you're stuck in some way, show up, because I'm a very practical person, so I'm going to give you practical steps to do. It's not going to be this, well, you need to just breathe 3 times a day. And that it's going to be like, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, and you're going to do this. Once you accomplish these 3 things, once you finish that, then here's your next list of things to do. So you're actually going to like bring a piece of paper to write on.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have things to do. So it's not just like this airy fairy, we're going to like sage and breathe all day. It's not going to be that thing, at least not in my session. Like, I'm a practical, let's get her done kind of person. So be prepared to do something. You're going to experience stuff. You're not going to be spending all your time sitting in the chair. I can promise you that. I'm going to get you out of that chair. You're going to do stuff. You're going to feel stuff. You're going to experience stuff. You're going to see yourself in a way you never have before. I can promise you that. So
you will never forget.
Yeah.
This retreat.
Vaguely, if you're even vaguely interested, or you have like this inkling towards it, lean into it and sign up.
Yep.
Margaret leads with process. Margaret, Mo, you're so elegant and graceful and incredibly great at putting a program together. And each of us have our own dynamics that we're bringing to this event. I love how we actually sing well together. There's harmony here. And I am believing that everyone who is already manifesting their ticket to come and who is ready to be part of this is going to walk away with a bunch of new friends too. You don't want to be alone in this gig. This is pretty amazing to have wonderful beings who maybe even your neighbor you didn't even know about. They'll be there. You will walk away with new contacts that will be part of your team.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I wish it was happening tomorrow. I'm already ready for it. Well, okay, I'm going to have us wrap up here. Thank you 3 so much for spending time today and just It feels like the momentum of this retreat is really going, and I'm super excited. So for those of you that are listening, please reach out with any other questions that maybe we didn't address today, or just any questions at all. And I'll put all the information about the retreat and these three lovely healers and souls. I'll put all their information in the show notes as well. So we will see you all at the end of September.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Does that just not get you super excited about this retreat? I was just re-listening to parts of it myself and thinking, oh my God, I cannot wait until it happens. Now, I wanted to wrap up this podcast episode today and tell you a little bit more about what I'm going to be contributing to the retreat. Oftentimes, I focus so much on the facilitators and the other people that I'm bringing that I forget to talk about myself. And for some of you, if you have never worked with me before or never been to one of my retreats, it's only fair that you learn a little bit about me as well. So you can definitely do that by listening to any of my other podcast episodes. I've had now over 70 episodes in the 3 years I've been doing this podcast. So that is a fantastic way to get to know me. But just in general, when thinking about this retreat, I want you to know that it is my job to hold the container. That's how I like to reference it, because we are literally creating a container with us. And so it is my job as the facilitator and the host, I believe, to hold that container from beginning to end, to maintain my intention of this retreat being a safe space, and to hold the intention that you're all bringing to this experience. So I use my facilitator skills to ensure that everyone feels heard and seen and held in that safe space. And facilitation is something that I have really focused on over the last probably 10 years between teaching and speaking and leading groups through workshops. It is a skill that I have learned over the years to really value in myself because I care so deeply about other people. I think that's part of what makes me a good facilitator. And so I know that for me, one of the most important pieces to working with a group of people, whether it be in a workshop or a retreat or even a keynote speaking engagement, is a safe space. And I think oftentimes people kind of take this for granted or don't consider it to be an important part. But honestly, if there is not an intention set to have a safe space, the experience, whether it be a workshop, a retreat, or a speaking engagement, the workshop, speaking engagement, or whatever it is, will not happen in as high of a vibration as it could. So, because creating a safe space allows truth to come out. And oftentimes I have found in different experiences that a lot of people in the group will not speak if they don't feel like what they have to say will be heard or will be received well. And so that's why it's so important, because I believe we can't make progress until we can get the truth out. And everybody might have their own version of the truth, but whatever it is, once we have the truth, we can actually work with that to create something new, right? But if people don't feel safe to be seen or heard, we can't work. We have nothing to work with. So one of the ways that I do that at a retreat is I lead us through an exercise, a really simple exercise to set some ground rules for us for the weekend. And then I believe it's my job to make sure that we adhere to them. And I'm very intentional about this, and I follow through with action when needed, because those rules are what we co-create as a group to make sure that we all feel good about sharing with each other and being vulnerable with one another. I am also insanely persistent and relentless with curiosity. It's part of what makes me a good coach and part of why I have my own business. And this always comes out at my retreats. And so my goal will be to bring in all of my skills, all of these different things that I've learned over the years, and to bring all of my tools with me to be a part of this experience at this retreat for you. So you will have access to me before, during, and after this experience. And I have certifications with Fierce Conversations, which is a book written by Susan Scott that helps you to have hard conversations with people in the workplace and at home. I bring in my emotion code practitioner experience now, my energy healing experience, my mindset tools, my experiences in business and in life, and more. And so I want you to know that I take my job very seriously, and this experience is as much for me as it is for you, but I want you to know that I bring all of myself. And so you will get access to that during this time. And I have found that the people who take that seriously and truly come wanting to get as much out of it as they can, you will get a lot out of it. So I want you to know that anytime I take a part in the retreat, whether it be from a facilitator standpoint or running my own workshop or session, you have the opportunity to ask me whatever you want and to really take advantage of that time. One of the pieces I'll also be focusing on is making sure that what the information you're taking in every day, you're thinking about how you can integrate it into your everyday life. Because much like Kai mentioned in the podcast today, I love really tangible things that you can take home and do immediately. And so I want to make sure that you have some of the tools that I've utilized in my journey that have really helped me learn how to sit in the unknown. Because if there's something I've had to tackle more than anything in the last 5 years with my business is learning how to sit in a place where I don't know what's going to happen next and be okay with it. Because honestly, that's what we all face. And you can either look at it like, oh my gosh, that freaks me out so much, or you can choose to look at the unknown as a place of spontaneous, playful, beautiful energy. And there's some different tools that I've used over the years that have really helped me to create a whole lot more calm and a lot more excitement when it comes to sitting in this place. So there are 15 spots total for this retreat. There are 14 spots left. I would love for you to head over to iloveitwhen.org and purchase your ticket today and reach out to me and let me know that you're coming, because I am so ridiculously excited to spend time with all of you. And feel free to email me at mo@iloveitwhen.org if you have any other follow-up questions to anything we talked about today or anything at all. I look forward to hearing from you and seeing you at the end of September. Thanks for listening today.